Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Hubick, and I'm with the Chartered Professional Accountants of Saskatchewan. With me is Denitha Bro from the Ontario College of Social Workers and Social Service Workers. And today we're talking about AI and professional regulation. So Denitha, actually the day before, because we're recording this the second time. Anyway, on Monday, we had a pre-conference workshop called Demystifying AI for Regulatory Leaders. And you moderated a panel of regulators talking about how they were using AI in their practices. What were some of the themes and ideas that came out of that session?
Thanks, Leah. I think the themes and ideas that have actually come out of that session and throughout the conference really is that the people are really looking to learn. We're looking for some sort of almost like a checklist or like a guidance on what it is that's going to come out in the AI world. And it's so difficult. And Leah, you'll appreciate this as regulators. We want to know what the goalpost is. What are we supposed to be aiming for? And it's really uncomfortable when there's so much unknown around it. And that's really what came through. And people really enjoyed having understanding that everyone's sort of in the same space and having the ability to connect with people around this topic. And that's an understanding, having sort of the baseline of what we mean by generative AI. What do we mean by machine learning? So we had a bit of that defined for us so that we can actually figure out a space to start.
I think that was a really critical takeaway, is that AI in itself is a very broad concept, but we're probably all using AI to some degree.
Yeah.
I did feel like there was a balance between urgency and fear. I wonder if you can share your takeaways on that.
Absolutely. I think people are on either extreme ends of it. There's an urgency to be relevant, to ensure that we're still out there working within it, not missing any opportunities. And then also an urgency to tell our registrants, offer some sort of guidance or support. And it's quite difficult to offer guidance and support in a world of unknown. And, we sympathize. We're all in the same space. And then the fear around, what if something happens? What if someone uses it in a way that isn't appropriate, that they shouldn't be doing? And I think that's where we really focused on the principles that we always speak to our registrants about. The principles of confidentiality, ensuring that you're acting in the best interest of the client, the public, the patient, whichever applies. And we really kind of went back to that. And whenever you're using what's out there, it's being used as a tool.
Absolutely. So as a tool, what are you doing in your college to leverage AI?
Well, as you said before, I think a lot of AI already exists in a lot of what we do.
Yeah.
I can't, not that I make a habit of sending emails at 8:00 at night, but I'm often not allowed to send anything of that sort without Outlook reminding me that individuals are now not working and I shouldn't be doing this. So there is a lot of automation to scheduling. I get reminders when I don't have enough time set aside to do some deep thinking. So there is AI already embedded into our work. We are currently updating our database system and really improving our infrastructure. And I would say that is a way that our organization is setting ourselves up so that we have the capacity and the ability to ensure that we're able to accept any changes in technology that are coming forward for the operational end for how we resource the college.
Yeah, and I think at the workshop, we talked a lot about the edges of the things that you do, and sort of some of the things that might annoy you in your day-to-day, and how you can use technology as a tool to solve some of those pain points and soften some of those edges. Scheduling, sending emails late at night, I think those are great examples of using AI in a way that maybe doesn't feel so scary.
Absolutely.
So I think let's talk a little bit about the broader issue of AI in the global aspect of professional regulation. So there's what we're individually doing to use AI, but what were some of the things that were broader in professional regulation to consider? I thought one of the interesting conversations was about seeing it used as a tool by our registrants. What does that mean?
I think the fear is that we'll end up in a space where a registrant, when we're thinking, if we just look at health sector, we don't want to end up in a space where registrants are entering patient information, doing their notes by copying all of the patient information into the system, and then having the system generate some notes. I would think that that's sort of baseline, not to do this, as this is a publicly based open system, but it is something that, in fairness, people can find themselves falling into. So any kind of guidance around these are the basic tenets and principles, use this as a tool, but maybe like a blank page tool. You're starting to write a policy or thinking of a summary, and you're thinking, well, how do I start this? Let me throw the sentence in. I think that's maybe a safe way to use it when you're thinking of the language models like a chat GPT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Predictive language models. But there are so many spaces, and I think we're just sort of right at the cusp of it. We don't know the things we don't know, and we just have to be open and continue the conversation.
Yeah, I think being open-minded is so critical with this. There's fear because I think we're risk adverse as regulators.
Absolutely.
And it's like we want to know all of the dirty little secrets that come with how it's framing something that it's putting in front of us. I also found the conversation we were talking about AI and professional regulation. So many of us have been using the term right touch or risk-based for years. How do you think AI can help us be more agile in those areas to be a better risk-based regulator?
I think it's really using it where you need, like, prioritize the use of technology. That's really what it comes down to. You can find technology to do just about anything and everything you need. I mean, there are toothbrushes out there that have Wi-Fi. God knows why. I'm not really quite sure.
No,
but
outside of my scope of practice.
Yes, completely outside of mine. However, it's understanding that not everything requires that, and being able to, as a regulator, prioritize what you need. And I think that's where Right Touch will play into it.
Yes, I agree.
What do you think, Leah?
Well, I think the data science component of AI is already being leveraged very extensively by professional regulators. We collect a lot of information about our registrants, and we are desperate to keep doing that, I would say. And I think confidentiality, as you've said, is so critical. But I think using some of those powerful machine learning and data science tools to produce information that we're doing manually right now.
Yeah.
I'm from a smaller regulator. I'm from a smaller province, and leveraging tools from a resource utilization perspective is critical. And I think AI has a lot of opportunity for us in maximizing our resource utilization as a regulatory body.
I think that's helpful. And I think the thing is that progress will happen whether we participate or not. And I think to the extent that we can communicate and continue to have these discussions will help us cumulatively as a regulatory body, like across the board and regulatory environment, for us to move forward with this emerging technology.
Yeah, and I think really one of the points to keep in mind is like the accuracy of some of these tools still needs that layer of professional judgment. And we pride ourselves as regulators in the cornerstone to have the skepticism and the judgment to apply to say, does this outcome actually align with what we're expecting? And I think we'll only see more involvement of AI in our fields of practice, either by use of the registrants or by coming to CNAR and hearing what some other people are doing. Even just where we're situated, you can see 3 data science firms have set up their booths. So I do encourage you to check out those virtual booths. There's a lot of interesting information out and about. Is there anything else that you want to share about AI and professional regulation?
Well, I think what I want to share is just about CNAR as a whole. Leah, both you and I are sitting on the board, and we know that as CNAR as a community is here to assist you as regulators, as members, to source out information and material that you need. And I think even though we may not have all the answers for you, we want to ensure that us as an organization are able to connect you with those right spaces and right places at the right time.
And there's so much to learn. And I think asking those questions and raising those questions to bodies like CNAR is only going to allow us all to get better in our own areas of regulation and profession. So thanks for tuning in to CNAR TV. I hope you've enjoyed the conference and you enjoy it for the rest of day 2. And we'll be signing off and on to lunch and the afternoon of sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.